Alright, here we are. Ultimate Fighter, round 1 video. After this I'm going to do a video on each episode just because we're into the quarterfinals now. So kind of bigger things are happening. So they've weeded out all the crumb bums, and now we're at all the guys that are pretty much decent or better. Right now I'm going to kind of rank my top 8. Now this could change once I see, going into the, obviously then I'll rank my top 4 when it goes into the next round, and go on from there. But I really didn't get to see Brandon Melendez, so that's why he's so low on my list. I have him at 7th. I didn't get to see him fight. From what I understand, it was a stand-up battle with Andy Wang. Andy Wang would have been much smarter to keep the fight on the ground. But he's not good at listening. That's why he got kicked off the team. I thought that was awesome. And so now Team Polar has 9 guys, and they have 6 on Team Penn. To get to it, 8th right now I just have Corey Hill. I think he's the worst of what's left. I thought he lost the fight to Rob Anderson. Any of the guys that are left, I think can, with the maybe exception of Cole Miller, I think Cole Miller might be a bad, Corey might be a bad matchup for Cole Miller. Just because they're both kind of tall and lanky, and I just think Corey might be a little bit better striking wise than Cole, but Cole would be a lot better on the ground. But that would be the only person I would see Corey possibly beating. Everybody else, I see him losing. So I think he's the worst of what's left. I said Brandon was 7th. I didn't get to see his fight, that's why I kind of put him there. I pretty much figured he had to be better than Corey, so because Corey did not impress me. Now Cole Miller, I put him 6th. It was a very impressive fight, but it was against the worst guy off Team Penn. The Monster Lobster didn't really offer a lot. I think he has a 2-2 overall record right now, and he said that he just fights to promote his restaurant. He must be a guy that had a background in wrestling or whatever, and watched MMA, started training or whatever. But he's pretty much a noob. It was Cole Miller dominated the whole fight. Well, I'm not going to say dominated. He handled him really well. I put him there. But there was more impressive guys that fought bad guys. So like Gray Maynard, I put him 5th. I think he's easily the best wrestler. I mean, Wyman's a really good wrestler, but I think Maynard is by far the best wrestler that is left. He's possibly the strongest too, either him or Manny. And I think he's one of those guys. I think his technique, like just at least what I saw in Weems when he had his back, and he had the hooks in, and he had him sprawled out. It reminded me a lot of GSP and Trigg. That technique is, he's got a very strong technique for an MMA ground and pound guy, and he looked pretty good in the ground and pound. So, I want to see him get challenged a little bit, and who I have him fighting in the 2nd round would be a challenge. But I think Gray has a lot of potential. Wrestlers have shown, definitely extremely athletic, extremely strong wrestlers have shown that they can do stuff in the MMA world. I mean, Koscheck is by no means one of my favorites, but he is a great, the best wrestler in MMA, and he's moving up in the world. He's the number 4 middleweight right now, so or middleweight, welterweight. But another guy like John Fitch is a great wrestler. Matt Hughes is a great wrestler. I mean, wrestlers have shown that if they adapt themselves to other things, they can become a real force. So Gray Maynard has a huge upside. 4th, I have Matt Wyman. Now my 3, 4, and 5 guys, you can kind of switch them around because I kind of vary on them, but this is where I had it when I wrote this down, so we'll go with that. Matt Wyman. I think he's probably the most well-rounded of what's left. Seems like to me he's very strong. He's probably one of the few guys that might be able to match strength with Gray. I think Gray would be a little bit stronger, but strength doesn't mean shit if you don't have the technique. But I think Wyman does. He's very strong. I also saw Killer Instinct in him that I did not see in his UFC fight against Spencer Fisher. I didn't see that. He had a serious killer instinct when it came to him and Marlon Sims and Mr. Indestructible. But Mr. Indestructible was kind of a crumb bum in my opinion. So, by the way, crumb bum means crappy fighter, or crappy person. I use it a lot. It's one of my words. Um, Third, I got Manny. Guy has some sick judo. Very compact frame, so he can kind of fit the most muscle on a 155-pound body because he's only 5'4". He trains with Caro, so he trains with a really good fighter. And he's very strong, very powerful. Excuse me. And he was very impressive. That was a nice Kimura he ripped on Noah Thomas. He dominated Noah, and Noah's not a great fighter either, but that was a dominant win. Noah didn't get one thing off. And Noah really only had a puncher's chance in that, in my opinion. But man, he was very impressive. Number two and number one, I got them pretty close to each other. Joe Lozon, I think he's the most explosive what's left. Also, something that he might have an advantage that has shown an advantage in other fighters is he's in everybody's head. He beat Jens Pulver, he beat one of the coaches, former lightweight champion, guy who has some big wins in his career, and he knocked him out. The guy comes at you. He is a fighter that is the meaning of the word explosive. He just comes at you, swinging, and a lot of times it'll end the thing. And then he also showed these guys. Most of his wins have been by submission. So, you look at him. That submission that he had on Garrity, that was nice. He had one hook in when it started, the rear naked choke, and when he finished it, there was no hook in whatsoever. So, very impressive submission, and his ground and pound was very. If he would have landed that bad intentions elbow that Garrity moved out of the way for, oh my God, he would have killed him. That was one of the. I thought he might have hurt himself after I saw him miss that. And his blog said that he thinks he's grazed him, but I don't think he did. And he just, man, that was. If he would have landed that, my God, that would have been. Even if the guy had his hands up, it still would have broke his nose. Lozon once again very impressive, and I got Nate Diaz at the top. I might be giving him a little more credit, and I think a lot of people are just because of who his brother is, and so he obviously, and he's pretty close to his brother, but it was impressive first fight. He picked Rob Emerson, and Rob Emerson was considered one of their top guys. A good kickboxer, and it was a good fight. It wasn't what Dana said one of the best fights ever in the Ultimate Fighter. That would, just throw one out there. How about Griffin Bonner won? But Nick Diaz probably the best jiu-jitsu ground game among what's left. So look forward to seeing him get challenged. The way I have my second round working out, I had to pick two fighters on Team Pulver that had needed to fight each other. So I picked Cole Miller and Brandon Melendez. No, I didn't necessarily really want one of those guys to move on, but what the hell? We'll put it out there, see what happens. Then I got Corey Hill fighting Matt Wyman. I think Wyman is I think any wrestler is going to be a bad matchup for Corey. Definitely of the wrestlers that are left. That kind of be a wash for Wyman. But the best match I have, there's two of them. The two other ones, I got Joe Lozon against Manny. The fight I really want to see is Joe Lozon against Nate Diaz, but I couldn't rightfully line up the number one and number two guys in my rankings in the quarterfinals, just because number one and number two should be in the finals, in my opinion. So Joe Lozon against Manny. I know I'm stupid for putting number two against number three, but you had to put somebody. And then Nick Diaz against Gray Maynard. And Nate Diaz. I believe Diaz was the first pick of Team Pulver, and Gray Maynard was the first pick of Team Penn. So that'd be kind of cool. Two first picks go at each other, and I think that's a styles make matchups, and that's a good matchup. Awesome wrestler against a awesome Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. I think it all depends on who's on top. I don't think Diaz could submit him from the bottom. Maybe a triangle, but not a go-go like his big brother. Because Gray's technique is pretty strong, so I just see that being stylistically a very good matchup. So that's what I want to see. Obviously, I'll reshape my top 8 or my top 4 once it goes on. I'm also going to comment after each review. I'm going to review these things each and every episode now. So hoping for some more good fights. I'm glad the crap has been weeded out, and looking forward to the rest of the season. I look forward to that finale. I want to see BJ Penn get back in the octagon. All right, Night Train, Shocker, and I'm out.